All right. Now we're live on both. Okay. So I'm getting lots of questions about working out and stuff like that. What are you doing? Sets and reps and weights and stuff like that. A couple quick things. Sets and reps don't matter. Weight matters to a degree, but not a huge amount. The thing that I see that where people mess up the most is they get set in this idea that if they do 3 sets of 10, on whatever, and they do 3 or 4 exercises, then that's all they need to do. And yeah, okay. The thing about it is that when you really get down to brass tacks, it doesn't matter how many sets or how many reps or things like that you do. What matters is that when you are done working out that body part, it's exhausted. It can't do anymore. The best way to do that is through drop sets, where you'll do 50 pounds, you'll do it 10 times, and then on your 11th one, your form fails, so you drop them, you go to 40s. You do those 6 or 7 times, you can't until your form fails, you drop them, you go to like 25s or 30s. That type of a thing where you completely exhaust the musculature is really the way to go. That's more or less the way I do it. That's if I get to 20, if I get to 10 or 12 or 15, doesn't matter. If I'm like, I'm shooting for 10 on this set and I get to 10 and I can do 2 more, you do 2 more. The point is to completely exhaust the muscle. It's not to get to a number. It's not to, finish a set. It's to completely exhaust the muscle. The way that I do mine is, so for instance, the big one I do is on chest day so I'll take, relatively, it's not super heavy. I realize it's not light, but I'll take 85-pound dumbbells and I'll do 5 up, 5 down. So it takes 5 seconds to get up and 5 seconds to get down. Really slow, time under tension. I'll get around 7 of those. I'll do 3 sets of that. Then when I'm done with that, I'll take the same weight and I'll knock out 20 reps of the 85s, but I'll do them quick. I'll just be like dink, 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 dink. And I'll just exhaust the muscle. And I'll do 5 or 6 sets. It just depends on when my muscles feel like, because it's more of that piece is my dumbbell press is more of up here. And I'll usually do 5 or 6 sets. Then I'll go over and I'll do cable flies. And it's high to low on my cable flies. The big thing to remember when you're doing a workout, I don't care if it's chest or biceps or triceps or whatever, remember you're working a specific muscle, and the muscle does one thing. It contracts, it shortens, and then it approximates a joint. So, arm goes out, arm comes in, arm comes out, arm comes in. That's what the bicep does. So you can come up with all sorts of fancy ways of holding things and moving things, but that's what's going on. So if you isolate the form, and so you're just moving that one joint, and you're just focusing on contracting that musculature around that one joint as it's coming up, and you're going slow and controlled, and the whole movement's clean. That's the big thing. It's going to be form, it's going to be precision, and it's going to be, because you control the movement of the weight. Those are going to be the big things, and it's just exhaust it. Work it until it's done. So usually, like on arms, I'll start with 25s and get warmed up. I'll go to 35s. I'll do 4 sets there. Go back down to 30s, and then I'll do an exhaustion set with 25s. Then I'll go over and I'll just do triceps, and I do my triceps on cables, and I do them independently because I want to focus everything on that one arm. I do all my stuff independently. I don't do anything with bars. I don't do anything where I could. So for instance, when I do leg extensions and leg curls, I do those with a cable, one leg at a time. Because I want to focus everything that's going on that specific muscle and that specific muscle group. But again, form is 100% all that matters. Full range of motion. The more range of motion you can get, the better. You're going to feel it like on chest and stuff when you come down. When you come down all the way, you should feel that really stretch and then come back up with it. When you arc your back, when you do all sorts of things, you're throwing energy into places that it doesn't belong. Yeah, you can get the weight up. Great job. If you're a power lifter and that's what you're trying to do, it's, again, totally different conversation. But the cleaner you lift, the more benefit you're going to have. And I'll record some of these. I keep promising to do that. I'll do it sooner or later. But that's kind of how it goes. It's how clean is your lift? How smooth is it? How, did you go slow? Did you exhaust the muscle? That's always going to be the biggest thing. Now, the thing about weight, how much weight you want to do, you know, the big thing to remember on that one is to avoid injuries is to go up slow in weight. The muscle will grow much, much faster and get much, much stronger, much, much quicker than the ligament and the tendon will. So the idea of, we should lift as heavy as we can. It's a great way to injure yourself. And I don't recommend it unless you're a power lifter and you're like, how much can I lift? Because the amount I lift is my sport. In that case, again, completely different goals, completely different everything. So you guys kind of have to watch out for that one. So if you're not powerlifting, if you're not how much weight can I lift, that's your thing, then I would advise you to reduce the weight and go slower. So what I'll do is I will go really, really slow for, if I can do 4 sets of 15 real slow with a weight, then I will go up by 5 pounds or so with that weight and then see if I can still get around that 15 mark. If you're doing 3 or 5 or 6 reps and that's all you can get, and especially to the end of your set, like you stack up to it, like if you're doing bench press, you're going 135, 150, 185, 190, and you get 190 3 times, don't go up. Don't go up. You don't need to. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to cause more injury. And the problem with injury is that it not only delays what you've already done, but it holds you out of the gym for another sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And so now you're 5, 6 weeks behind. And so, your gains just aren't going to be there. And if you tear this stuff bad enough, you have to have surgery, you might not ever come back properly. So I know that everyone's like, lift as heavy as you can. Let's look, so the king of that one, Ronnie Coleman, his big quote, everybody wants to be big, but nobody wants to lift no heavy ass shit. Multiple hip surgeries, multiple lower spine surgeries. Again, you can get pretty big. You can get where you want to go. Again, if you're trying to be Mr. Olympia, this is a different conversation, but I'm using him as an example because there's a lot of you guys out there who are doing really heavy squats, don't need to be. Form's not perfect. You're tearing up your back, you're tearing up your knees, tearing everything up. So, drop the weight a little bit. Just go really slow, put more time under tension, and you're going to get a lot bigger and a lot better results for that. It's also, I like it for fat burning as well, because the more you do a time under tension exercise, the more your body recognizes that it needs to build 2 things: strength and endurance. Strength and endurance come from the actual tissue of muscle, the myocytes, the zygaphospholipid. You gotta link those things together. But that tissue will build up, but it also starts to build more mitochondria, so you can have more energy over time. So the more muscle density you have, the more mitochondria you have, regardless. But if we go time under tension and we ask that muscle to have endurance, it'll have to start building that type of endurance as well. Now, that long term burns more ATP than normal. So again, that's the big thing. And I'll start recording some of these, but the number one thing you guys have to maintain is form. Like, I don't care what your weights, I don't care about your sets or reps. Form is critical. If you don't have form, stop doing everything you're doing until you acquire the perfect form, and then work on your form each time. People always ask, like, you do the same workout all the time, doesn't it get boring? No, I'm focusing on my form. I'm focusing on being perfect on my form each time. So that's how it doesn't get boring. I'm not just like, oh, whatever. Was that rep perfect? If it wasn't, how do you fix it for the next rep you're going to do so it is perfect? Hand placement, elbow placement, everything's got to move perfectly. That's going to help you stay away from injury. And then, then you just resist that range of motion. As you start to fail in your form, drop down in weight. A lot of guys, some women, but a lot of guys get too hung up on the amount of weight they're using. That ego piece is a really quick way to ruin your gains. It really, really is. Now you got to lift to a point where you're challenging the muscle and it's uncomfortable and it's hard and you're exhausted when you're done. But, stay in that 10 to 15 rep range or do a little bit more and just go slower. If you realize, oh, I'm having a strong day today, go slower. Instead of doing 4 seconds, do 5 or 6. See, push yourself in the how slow can I go doing this exercise idea. And that's kind of how how I've been doing it, having people do it for a while, and it's been giving great gains for a lot of the people. And we've had very, very, very few injuries. In fact, people are starting to come in. They're like, "Hey, that shoulder thing I had doesn't hurt anymore. Hey, that low back thing is getting a lot better. Yeah, you've had this issue for years because you've been lifting wrong, or you've been lifting wrong for your body." So slow down, really, really concentrate on form, and don't let a number stop you. If you're supposed to get to 10 and you get to 9, great. Drop your weight and do some more. If you're supposed to get to 10 and you get to 13, great. Slow down. That's kind of the rate that we do it. So if you guys have any other questions, hit us up, questions@chalmerswellness.com. And I guess I'll see you guys about 2:30 today. Thanks. Thanks for your time.